Hello everybody, welcome back to Umineko. It's Lorelai. In the last time we left off, Angie summoned Memon, and Lambda threatened Angie and tried to strike a deal with her. But anyway, without further ado, let's just get right into today's episode.
ちょっとそれ私の返して
I remember this. Leviathan, always envious of others.
やだやだ私が食べるのアスモアスモパス
Eat it!
レビアお姉様こっちこっち
I wonder where they swiped it from. They were fighting over a donut or something, playing around really loudly. I'm sorry, it's just that every time they talk about eating something, I think back on how they tortured Battler. And when they talk about eating, it's usually not something edible.
エンジェ様は読書をなさってるのよ。少しは静かにできないの？そう言ってるサタンが一番うるさいのよ。沈黙なさい。この愚昧が。ルシファーお姉様の方がうるさいです。文句が終わり？
By now, I was used to the fights between the eldest and the third eldest sister. Wait, who's the second oldest again? It's a bit funny how they're both a little hesitant, even though they're so quick to anger. They might be surprisingly similar.
賑やかにしていろとの仰せでしたが、これではさすがに少しボリュームを下げさせますか？
気にしないで騒いでてくれていいわ
Hey guys, Belphegor, best sister ever.
教室の黄色い笑い声より100倍心地よいもの
I'm very happy that Engie is so at peace with them though.
エンジ様早く次のページエンジ様は読むのが遅いマモンは読書が好きなの地味なことが一番苦手そうに見えるのにね
マモンが司るのは強欲、知識欲にもそれは通じます。ただし、独占したがるので、本を与えると人に読ませまいと、読書後に焼いてしまうこともあるのでご注意を。
私は誰も知らないことを私だけが知っているのが好き。誰もできないことを私だけができるのが好き。だから勉強は好き。私だけが誰も知らない英知を独り占めしたいから。
You know, I just had a thought. It's a little random, but up until now, I haven't really talked much about the Seven Sisters. And I'm not really clear about what the Bible says about the seven sins and whatnot. But I suppose the seven sins are what makes up a human, to a degree, probably. And the seven sisters combined, probably maybe makes a person whole. I wonder if it's something that Engie herself is lacking in. Since, I don't know, she seems a little... Inhuman is not a word. But she's very disconnected from reality, and I guess it's a way to escape from her life and her troubles in life. As Memon said that her eyes sparkling, she stared transfixed at the open page, reading through it again. You could see the greed that made her even more intent than me on devouring that page. As you can see, my magical power was now much stronger compared to the first day I summoned them. I was now at a point where I could summon all the seven sisters of purgatory at once and still calmly read a book like this. This place, although I couldn't recall where it was a quiet and calm street side bench. The reason that I couldn't remember the location of this place was that at the time I visited it, I was very young. Wait, so she's conjuring this place up too. Still, I remembered the day we walked here and how much fun it was. Mom, Dad, and even Oni-chan had been there. It was a memory of a very rare and very happy day when all the family had actually been together. The people walking by every once in a while weren't noticing me. They were just pleasantly ignoring me and passing by as normal. I wasn't even the slightest bit embarrassed by the Seven Sisters' shameless outfits, because it wasn't like they were actually being seen by anyone. In fact, I gotten pretty used to them, just so long as they didn't make me wear one. I was sitting on a stylish bench, memorizing a timeline for world history. In an academic system where everything is based on collective responsibility, there's no tolerance for dunces. It seemed that I was lowering the average grade for the class considerably. According to those extremely intellectual girls, if I alone improved my grade, the average would rise drastically. They had been kind enough to show me with a graph drawn with colorful pens on a B4 sheet of drawing paper. Just thinking of the effort it must have taken to draw that was nauseating. But I'd already sped out all of those complaints. I'd already used those girls to vent all my furious anger and sadness, those girls being the Seven Sisters? The Seven Sisters were sometimes outraged, sometimes compassionate, and sometimes shared in my sorrows. I was truly happy to have friends with whom I could share those emotions. It's said that they were originally furniture that existed to carry out Beatrice's cruel, sacrificial ritual. If that sickening occult message bottle was to be believed, it seemed that several among them even attacked my family. But I didn't believe that, and it would be pointless to question them about it. They're furniture, so all they do is respond to their master's requests. Which is why it's really hard to say whether they truly are assholes or not. Even if they really had attacked my family, I couldn't hate them. The one I really hated was the Golden Witch, Beatrice, or else the one at the very center of Raginjima Gate, Aunt Eva.
エンジ様、早く次のページ。
あ、ごめん。疲れたわ。少し休憩させて。エン
ジ様、休憩だって。遊ぼう遊ぼう。エンジ様、遊ぼう。
When they noticed that I had interrupted my studying, the most energetic youngest sisters gathered around me. That wasn't all. Maria! And Sakutaro! Even Maria One-chan and Sakutaro showed themselves. They had probably been very close by, but they must have hid themselves so that they didn't interrupt my studying.
うりゅう。エンジェ、お勉強どう？お勉強どう？やー！サク太郎！元気？ちょっと！私にもモフモフさせて！
早い者勝ちだっていつも言ってるでしょ。あー、かわいいかわいい。
うきゅー。潰れちゃうよ。
New line, ukyu.
うりゅう。
七姉妹が揃ってる時に現れたのが運の尽きだ。おとなしくモフモフされてもらおう。
もういっつもこんなにしてしまって。愚昧な姉と妹どもが申し訳ありません。
サク太郎もみんなに会えて喜んでるよ。どうエンジェ、お勉強の調子は。
ありがとう。まあそこそこには。ご丁寧にも他のクラスで先にあった小テストのプリントが回してもらえたの。麗しい連帯感に涙が出るわ。とりあえず年表を頭に入れるだけでもまあ多少はマシかしら。
うりゅう、エンジェお勉強偉い。いっぱい点数取れるよ。うりゅう。お疲れ様。マリア、お勉強は全然ダメだったから、ちゃんと勉強すれば点数が取れるエンジェが羨ましいよ。
ご冗談を。英語、ラテン語、オカルトの知識、そんなのを丸暗記できてるお姉ちゃんの方がよっぽどすごいわ。
マリアは魔法のお勉強は何でも覚えられるけど、つまんないお勉強は何も覚えられない。だからテストでも何も役に立たない。
And this is a reminder that your academics and grades aren't everything. They don't determine your worth. And that's why even Maria, who is supposedly only good at English, Latin, and the occult, is still really super impressive.
確かにオカルトの知識はどうかと思うけど、英語なんかは成績に結びつくんじゃない？
小学校1年生の時、国語のテストで、鉄砲のイラストの脇に四角が4マスあって、そこに名前を書きなさいって問題があった。
Picture of a gun and 4 squares?
ライフルって書いたら×だった。
どうして？合ってるじゃない。
鉄砲が正解だって。
Oh.
カタカナは小学1年生では習わないからダメだと言われた。
Oh man. I know this kind of thing. It really sucks. It really does suck. Just because Maria is actually more advanced than everyone else in class.
マリアはよくわからないから、その日以来テストでは全てひらがなで書くようにしたよ。でもなぜかママには怒られる。先生にも怒られる。
Oh, Maria didn't get it, huh?
お姉ちゃんは多分生まれる国を間違えたわ。
ならマリア、魔女の国に生まれて魔法学校に入りたかった。そうしたらもっともっと素敵な魔法の友達がいっぱいいたかもね。うりゅう。でも別に今は何も気にしてないよ。だって魔法はいっぱい使えるし、魔法のお友達もたくさんいる。マリアにはサク太郎がいれば十分だもの。
Maria really is so precious.
僕だけじゃないよ。サクスケもサク吉も動物の音楽隊もアザラシの下田くんもウサギのサナエさんも小豚のピゴーくんも他にもいっぱい。
Incredible. One-chan's friends just keep increasing in number. Every time I ask, the list of her friends' names grow longer. But there's no doubt that Sakutaro is her best friend. I'm a little jealous of her for having such a close friend.
どう？七姉妹は仲良くやれてる？
本当に賑やかな姉妹たちよ。たまに物騒なことを言い出すけど、悪くないわ。本当はサク太郎みたいな可愛い子が良かったんだけど。
もっと私の原初の魔法を学んだなら、きっとエンジェの好みの友達を生み出せるようにもなるよ。今のエンジェに想像はまだちょっと難しいね。
想像と召喚は違う。そして反言もまた違う。
Let me, I think I might have talked about this before, but okay. So creation is creating something from nothing. Summoning is to summon something that was already created. And resurrection is to bring something that was once there, that was created, but is no longer there, that is dead. I'm confusing myself.
やっぱり一番の願いは家族を蘇らせること？
うん。よりしろは持ってるよ。これ。
そうだね。
Her hair beads, right?
その髪飾りならいつかきっとバトラーを呼び出す鍵になるよ。あとはエンジェの修行次第だね。
それがいつまでかかるのかわからないのが泣けるけれども。
ウリュウ、辛くてもしっかり。エンジェが諦めなければ絶対にいつか叶うよ。
絶対に叶うという保証を誰かがくれたなら。
ウリュウ、なら僕が保証する。エンジェはいつかきっと必ず願いを叶えられるよ。
ありがとう。気休めでも嬉しいわ。
気休めじゃないよ、ウリュウ。ダメだよエンジェ。そういう感情は半魔法の毒素になるよ。
What?
夢は必ず叶うって気持ちが一番よく芽吹く魔力の種なんだよ。
Wait, I'm probably gonna have to go back and check this out again, but the feeling that your dreams will definitely come true is the best seed that buds into magic power is something that I think Maria has either alluded to before or said explicitly before. The feeling of hope.
そうね。ごめんなさい、お師匠様。
エンジェ様は少し強欲さが足りないのよ。欲しいもののためにはどこまでも。手に入れるまで絶対に諦めないという根性が足りない。
Angie lacks the greed, huh?
無理よ、そんなことないよ。エンジェは頑張ってるよ。
ありがとう、作太郎、マモン。泣き言なんて何の足しにもならないもんね。私にはただ頑張るしか道はないのよ。努力するわ。歯を食いしばってね。そして必ず夢を叶えるわ。絶対に。
ウリュウ、エンジェ偉いよ。頑張ろう。僕もマモンも応援する。ええ、応援します。主が強欲であればあるほど私たちの価値も上がるというもの。それよりエンジ様、せっかく10人も集まったんだし、みんなでしりとりでもして遊ぼうって提案がありまして。
They really only think about playing games.
負けたら罰ゲーム。私に耳をかじらせて。
もうあんたの頭には食欲以外ないの？
愚昧どもの愚かな提案をお許しください。
そろそろ勉強に戻られなくても大丈夫ですか？
やだやだやだ、ずっとお勉強終わるの待ってたのに遊んでもらえないなんてやだ。
悪くない提案と思います。たまには遊ぶのも頭の良い柔軟になるかと。
ベルフェが司るのはタイダだっけ？もっともらしいことを言ってるけど、うまいことを言ってるわね。
失礼しました。エンジェ様は勤勉でおられる。
エンジェさえ良ければ私もみんなと遊びたいな。みんなでワイワイ、きっと楽しい。風流、エンジェ遊ぼう遊ぼう。みんなでしりとりをやろう。
では作太郎のウリュウからスタートで。
Sorry. I'm just gonna say this now. But I had this thought pop into my head just now too, looking at Maria. But if I know Maria's a witch, but if I think about this from a more logical perspective, if there is resurrection, isn't technically what Angie doing right now resurrection in a way? With her being able to conjure up Maria, you might say Maria is not conjured up, but in fact, came of her own will and accord. But if Maria is dead and witches don't exist, then possibly Angie is imagining everything up. And in that way, isn't she already resurrecting Maria? So Angie is a very, very, very powerful witch, and she definitely can resurrect Battler. I'm aware that this is not the only possibility, but it's the only one that I can think of right now. Anyway, let's continue with Lucifer.
この場合、何からになるの？竜？湯？
ウリュウからなんだろうね。やっぱり竜？
こんなおかしな語尾の単語が出てくるなんてめったにないし。
じゃあ私が一番。リュウから行くね。時計のネジのリュウズ。
私が一番に言いたかったのに、リュウトの方が素敵。
図？なんだかさっきから難しいのばっかりね。というか順番どうなってるの？次は誰？
ウリュウ、誰でもいいと思うよ。思いついた人順でいいよ。何それ、面白いね。いっぱい言えた人が勝ち？早口しりとりだね。じゃあ私行くね。ズッキーニ、ニンニク炒め、ペカブのパス
She's cheating!
タ。どれも美味しそう。
And she only thinks of food!
3つもいっちゃった。
ベルゼ3点獲得と。接続詞はありなのか？
のがありになったら何でもありになっちゃうわ。最後のはダメよ。1点減点。目からよ。
じゃあマリアね。メレンゲ。ゲ？
下水道埋め立て地
地下室。ざっとこんな感じ？お姉様、なんだか品のない単語ばっかり。何よ。じゃあ品のいい単語で続けてみなさいよ。とにかく私3点ね。次は「つ」よ、「つ」。
こんな変なしりとり初めて。面白い。うりゅう。全然わかんないけど面白い。うりゅう。
I played normal Shiritori before, but this kind of weird Shiritori was a new experience for me. The seven sisters, who would be lively enough just on their own, Mirio-ne-chan, Sakutaro, and me. I was now surrounded by friends that were just so fun. The courage to accept a world of magic, a world of witches. That alone wouldn't change the fact that I was locked up in an academy without a single friend in my class. You know, it's kind of funny that with Enji's appearance, it's better to accept magic than to deny the existence of magic. But when we were only with Battler and the murder mystery in locked rooms, it was better to deny magic. Still though, we have to reconcile these two opposing forces as we approach the murder mysteries with Enji by Battler's side, I think. But I was having such a fun and merry time regardless. I'll become a witch like Mirio-ne-chan. And someday, I'll add my family to this happy circle. Mom, Dad, and Oni-chan. If possible, George Oni-chan and Jessica Oni-chan too. And my other relatives. I'll call everyone here, without a single person missing, and we'll all be gathered together. I wonder if this is what Beatrice is doing then.
それが私の夢。そうよ。私はそれを叶えるまで絶対にくじけない。
エンジ様はきっと大魔女になられます。あなたがそうだと信じるだけで、我ら煉獄の7姉妹はその日まで常におそばにお仕えするでしょう。
いてくれる？いつまでも私の力になってくれる？
当然。だって私、エンジ様の友達じゃないですか。
ええ、そうね。常に全員揃ってみんなで遊びましょう。今もこれからもずっとずっと。
エンジ様が夢を叶えられる日まで。
The lively 10-person game of Shiritori, cut off from time alongside the street, under the forever bright warmth of the sun, continued without end. Oh, I don't like that sound. It means we're gonna have something bad happen. Ah!
マジほんと。どういうわけ？後宮さん。
I don't like this. I don't approve of this. She just got hit, didn't she? In the end, I wasn't able to make a very good grade on my test. I had thought I'd memorized things in my own way, but if you could manage anything by cramming all night like that, no one would worry about tests.
あらかじめ問題が分かってたら、普通楽勝じゃない？楽勝。
さすがの私たちも空欄に答えまでは書き込みませんでしたわ。その程度はお勉強してくれると信じてましたから。
なにこれ？ちょっとマジこれ信じらんない。ほとんどダメじゃない。あんた本当にちゃんと予習したわけ？
一応。
一応ってレベルじゃありませんことよ、後宮さん。ここまでひどいと私めまいすらしそうですわよ。おお神よ、こんな簡単なテストすら無残な成績を残し、クラス全体の平均点をガタ落ちさせる彼女をどうかお許しください。
Let me in. Let me into this. I'm gonna beat him up. Who's laughing like this? The same test had been given to another class first, but who was laughing like that? They had managed to get hold of that test paper, so the average score for this test was unusually high, enough to obscure my slight improvement. However, there were some things that I couldn't make an excuse for. If I had spent the entire day studying like mad, I might have been able to get a slightly higher score, but who cares about that? Seriously! I got too heated up. I lost my mind. I lost my mind there. So sorry, everybody. But I hadn't gone that far. After all, after that on that day, I had spent the time having fun playing Shiritori with the seven sisters, Takutaro and One-chan. As expected, the winner had been Maria One-chan. She had been a strong player because of her various bits of random knowledge. Takutaro had gotten a penalty. He had spent the whole time cheering for everyone else's answers. And he had completely forgotten to think of any himself. Because of that, he got dogpiled by the seven sisters and had his ears thoroughly nibbled, didn't he?
ねえ、聞いてる後宮さん。
They were surrounding me, twittering like small birds. Annoying, smelly. On the outside of that circle was Memon, a wary expression on her face.
相変わらずおかしな学校ね。自分の成績が良かったなら万々歳じゃないの？
連帯責任とやらのせいでしょ。彼女らにとって自分クラスの平均点が低くて恥ずかしい方が問題なのよ。あるいはその結果、罰則として与えられる奉仕活動が嫌で仕方ないのかもしれない。
それってつまり成績を良くしたいから勉強してるとかじゃなくて、連帯責任や奉仕活動が嫌だから勉強してるって意味？
妬ましくて恥ずかしいのよ。誰かより劣りたくない。恥ずかしめられたくない。そんな気持ちだけが彼女らを勉強に駆り立ててる。勉強がしたければ勝手にすればいいのに、騒がしい奴ら。
つまるところ、連帯責任も奉仕活動もなければ、彼女らは勉強などする気もないわけだ。
Which is true in a lot of aspects of real life too, right? In schools and so on. If you didn't have to think about it, if you didn't have peer pressure, societal pressure, no one would ever do it, would they?
勉強の意味も知らず勉強することの、なんと愚かしいことか。
You know what? I agree with Belphegor here.
しかし、本当にこいつらはうるさくてバカバカしい。エンジェ様の貴重な昼の一時を邪魔するなと言うのに。
こいつら嫌い。早くどっか行っちゃえ。お腹すいた。早く消えちゃえ。
ごめんね、みんな。人間ってのはどうしてここまで浅ましいのかしらね。
自分で努力するよりエンジェ様に努力させる方が楽で強欲に平均点を稼げるってことでしょ。人間なんてみんな強欲、そしてより楽なようにそれを強いる。こいつらとはやがて煉獄の山で再会するわ。第五感を抜けるときはせいぜい己が足元に注意することね。
A Mountain of Purgatory, the fifth terrace? Mountain of Purgatory. I'm guessing that's a Dante reference again. Maybe after he comes out from hell, I have no idea. Memon controls the fifth terrace of the mountain that reaches to paradise, Mount Purgatory. Given that she herself was promising them this, we can probably be sure that after those girls die, their journey to heaven will not be an easy one. No, in fact, why don't they just go to hell? I can't say I don't empathize with Engie there. The class committee had applied to the student council to use the classroom during lunch and after school. The purpose of use was for a class study group, a wonderful little gathering so that they can all collect around me and make me study. I'm overjoyed. which meant that every day I would have all of my lunch and 3 hours of my afternoon stolen away from me. The academy and its student council, with its motto of student self-government, instantly approved of this pleasant activity that the students were taking up of their own initiative. In other words, I would no longer be able to escape after school by leaving the classroom. After school, the first class study group meeting started right away. Would they open a textbook, then kindly and carefully explain so that even I could understand it? Of course, it was nothing like that naive fantasy. After school in the classroom, around a dozen of my classmates crowded around my desk. First, before we started studying, why were my grades so bad? What was the reason? It was decided that I couldn't start until I could clearly answer those questions, become aware of the problem, and show remorse for my actions. That's just harassment and bullying. Of course, there was no way I had an answer to a question like that. They had avoided me like the plague up until now, and they had rejected me and kept me at a distance so as not to include me in their communities. So I had been avoiding their communities myself. There shouldn't have been any conflict between us that way. So even when they formed this community intent on raising the class average, I obviously kept well away from it. Even if I had tried to join in, they would probably have ignored me just like they had always done in the past. What a bunch of liars. Such enthusiasm. I've had enough of their ex post facto pretenses of charity.
後宮さんの悪いところはね、協調性がないところなのよ。自分さえ良ければいいって思ってる。その考えがいけないのよ。
セールチーヤの学び屋に集う者は、協調の心を持つように、ちゃんと生徒手帳にも明記されてましてよ。協調性があれば、クラス全体に貢献するために一緒にお勉強しようという意思。そここそが、後宮さんにお勉強。
ねえ、さっきから私たちの話を聞いてる？あなたのために私たちはわざわざ放課後に残ってこうして
I'm sorry, guys. I can't stand there yapping. The tears of gratitude are pouring down. Of course, they didn't like that. This way, it almost makes it look like we're bullying you, they scolded me. She is definitely not, probably not crying. Tears of gratitude. Fortunately, I'm normally all cried out anyway. If I'm told not to cry, I can hold it back. First, I was to write a letter of remorse and read it out loud. That is just... I can't take this. Of course, they meant today. The class president politely applied to the student council in the staff room for an extension on the use of the classroom. Apparently, it was accepted right away, which meant that starting now, I would be forced into self-criticism here for at least a full 5 hours. I, Ushiromiya Angie, caused trouble for my classmates by getting a low score in my test.
違うでしょ？
成績が低くて迷惑をかけたってのは
協調性でしょ？
もう、なんで後宮さんの反省文の書き
Their abusive jeers flew about one after another. I followed their guidance and put the eraser to it. I, Ushiromiya Enji, caused trouble for my classmates by not having a cooperative attitude.
ねえちょっと私たちが言ったのをそのままか
あんた、反省って意味分かってん？
自分の言葉で書かなくちゃ意味がないじゃない。
後宮さんってちょっと不思議な子だなって思ってたけど。
Even following the guidance didn't change the jeers much. In fact, now it felt like they were mocking me more as well. In this way, over the following several hours, without rest, without being allowed to go to the bathroom, of course without being permitted to have dinner, and while being continuously insulted, I was coerced into writing a document which humiliated myself. Oh man, fuck those girls, I hate them! And as it passed 9 at night, I was told to stand up and read it out loud. The contents were smeared black with tears and eraser marks. It certainly was my handwriting, but it was like a list of soulless letters whose contents I couldn't even remember. Everything had been copied down according to their guidance. But while I had been the one to write the letters, they weren't my words. I was being coerced into writing it down and even coerced into reading it aloud. I was surprised to find that even after all this time, in addition to ignoring someone and hiding their things, there were still other ways like this to bully people.
ほら早く読み後宮さんのために少しは感謝したい。
そこで感謝の気持ちが湧かないという時点で
大丈夫よ後宮さん。これからは私たちがいつも一緒にいてあげるから、一緒にお勉強して生まれ変わりましょうね。
Still surrounded by them, I stood from my seat and dropped my gaze towards a blackened page. And then I began to speak those humiliating words. But right away, jeers flew at me, saying that they couldn't hear and to speak up. Where is Mammon and the other sisters? I can't read this. I had no idea that being forced to read a paragraph humiliating me would be so painful. My throat shook. My fingertips shook. The paragraph of humiliation written in my own handwriting made my eyes burn with a hot liquid. My world blurred and twisted. The girls surrounding me all appeared warped. I saw them warped into exactly the impression I had of them. In other words, this was the correct view. What does she mean? Beyond that twisted crowd of people, I could see my friends. Oh, now then she sees them? Compassion could be seen in all of their eyes.
エンジェ、しっかり。
Maria, don't worry. Give me that golden staff. I'll hit them on their heads. Maria, Neichan, and Sakutara were looking at me with sad eyes. Perhaps because they realized that even cheap words of compassion would hurt me. They kept alternating between trying to say something and hanging their heads.
なんなのよこいつら。最低のやつら。腹渡が煮えくり返るわよ。エンジ様を寄ってたかってなぶり者にして何が楽しいわけ。
妬ましくても吐き出せないエンサー、誰でもいいのよ。吐き出せればね。最低のやつら。エンジェ様、ここはご自身の名誉のために怒り狂うことが許される場面です。怒りは正当な感情で正当な反応。ここで怒らなかったらどこで怒るんですか。やめなさいよ。安っぽくエンジェ様を怒らせないで。それができたらもうやってるわよ、エンジェ様は。
怒って状況が改善できるならそうすべきだ。だが客観的に判断してそれはますますに状況を悪化させるだけだろう。屈辱的だが今は耐えるのが賢明だ。
I'm so sad that this is the only solution.
さすがベルフェネーは怠惰やってます。
ふざけないでよ。私は耐えられない。こいつらが許せない。
みんな騒がないで。エンジェの負担になっちゃうよ。
負担？何言ってんのよ。ここは騒ぐところでしょ。私たち家具は主が侮辱されているのを見て冷静でいられるほど残酷じゃない。エンジェ様、そんな侮辱の文章を読む義務はありません。怒りの声を上げられないならせめてその屈辱の文面を床に叩きつけて。口汚く罵らなくていい。のけぞらせるほどの大声を上げなくていい。ただ渾身の力でそのノートを床に叩きつけて。それだけのことでエンジェ様は強い意志を示すことができる。勝手なことを言わないで。言ってるでしょ。それができるもんならエンジェ様だってとっくにやってる。
一時の感情の爆発は何も解決しない。むしろエンジェ様に対する風当たりを悪くするだけだとなぜわからん。
エンジェ様は悪くないのに、なんでこんな目に遭うの。 飯も食べさせてもらえないで放課後からずっとこんななんて嫌。
今夜だけじゃないわ。今日も明日も明後日もいい加減にしてこんな屈辱耐えられない。
ねえ、私たちの話本当に聞こえてる？
You know, at the very least, the Seven Sisters can help release the emotions that Angie feels that she can't in real life, which I think to a degree probably helps her out. But still, I just feel so angry towards the people that are harassing, bullying Angie. And I really wish that there would be someone that could help Angie out of that situation if she can't find it in her to break away from that situation. Someone tugged at my hair. I was pulled back into miserable reality. I was no longer even permitted to listen to the Seven Sisters expressing my inner thoughts on my behalf. My hair was lifted upwards. One of my hair ornaments came off, and I heard it bounce and then roll on the ground. No one picked it up. To the contrary, they casually avoided it as though something filthy had come rolling towards them. I tried to follow it with my eyes, but my hair was tugged upwards again.
なんで私たちがこんなに
右の耳から左の耳ってやつ？
I will say this first, but it might look like I'm skipping forward. I'm reading all the text. They just take too long to speak, and I don't want to read. I don't want to hear their stupid, annoying voices anymore.
それともあんたいい加減。
私たち全員に迷惑、私たちに言われてるからいやいやか。
あんたが本当に自分の意思で反省できる今日だけじゃないよ。明日も明後日もマジで続く。あんまり舐めてんじゃないわよ。つーかさ、生きてられる普通。
I want to punch them and bonk them on the head. I hate them so much.
私なら
生きてられないよね。
You know what would be better? If it wasn't the Ushiromiya family on the island, but these stupid... I'm so sorry, guys. I'm very heated up right now. Sorry. I mean, if it was these people on the island instead, I would feel a lot better. I would feel a lot better about the sacrifice, rituals, whatnot that's happening.
だってさ、生きてるだけで迷惑かけてるだけでしょ。私だったら絶対に生きてられん。
私だったら死ぬ。その方が世の中のためになるならすぐにでも死んじゃうよ。ね。
じゃあ死んでよ。
Who said that? Who?
エンジ様、
こいつら全員今すぐ殺してよ、あんたたち。ルシファー、聞こえた？
Oh man.
あんたたち煉獄の七姉妹は人間なんかあっという間に皆殺しにできるすごい核なんでしょ。あんたらいつも私にそう自慢していたわ。ならやって、今すぐこいつらを皆殺しにして、今すぐこの場で。それは
For some reason, Lucifer's speech faltered.
なんで？どうしてよ。目にも止まらぬ速度で飛び回って魔女の敵の心臓を即座に貫く必殺の家具でしょ。そしてそれを主である私が命じてる。今すぐ実行しなさい。殺して、こいつらをみんな殺せ。エンジェ様、どうか落ち着いて。
If they had immediately followed my brutal order and left corpses strewn all around me, I would have been ready to rue my own reckless actions of stealing human lives so readily. I was ready to regret and feel remorse, just as they had wanted me to. I was prepared to go through that. And yet, Lucifer just let an unsure expression rise to her face and didn't move to carry out my order. I was aware. Of course I was. Vaguely. No, that's not it. I knew it from the very beginning. I knew, didn't I, that magic was all empty. Huh? What?
何が煉獄の七姉妹よ。くだらない。くだらない。私、最初から知ってたんだから。エンジェ様。
Huh? I glared into worthless Lucifer's eyes, and it seemed that pain accompanied that stare. As though she had been struck by a horrendous headache, Lucifer clutched her head with both hands. But it looked like she couldn't tear her eyes off my glare. So the pain assaulting her grew more and more intense. Oh no. Why is Angie acting like this? Her anger is misguided and misplaced. She's angry at the people in the real world, but she's taking it out on Lucifer, who was trying to not let her regret her actions, I guess, in a way. Oh no.
役立たずが役立たずがあんたなんて大嫌い消えてしまえあんたなんて所詮私の中の妄想じゃない
I don't like this, Angie. Hopelessness and disappointment, resignation and a dream's end. A cracking sound like you'd hear from a frozen lake's surface during a fierce winter rang out just once. Simultaneously, Lucifer's form, tormented by violent pain, stiffened in place and grew cloudy. It was almost as though a beautifully polished glass window had been heartlessly smashed and turned white from the countless cracks. And that was an accurate analogy. At some point, Lucifer's form had turned into a glass ornament of the same shape. It's a glass shattering sound. Countless fissures ran through it from the inside, and the head and arms fell to pieces as it crumbled to the floor. Oh no, oh no. Oh no. I don't like this sound. Doesn't this only pop up when people get murdered?
知女は誰レビアタン私の命令を実行して今すぐにこいつらを皆殺しにしていえそのヘンジ様どうかお気を沈めてお聞きください
I wonder why, though. Why the seven sisters who usually appear to be so happy to carry out Beatrice's orders to kill seems very reluctant now. Is it because your master is a different person and your personality changes with them? Is it because they really are an extension of Angie in a way? And Angie herself said this before. She is ready to feel remorse and regret, meaning that she doesn't actually truly want them dead, but in the heat of the moment, she definitely wants to see those people who were bullying her in pain. But ultimately, she will probably regret it. And I wonder if the seven sisters who knows her inner thoughts, are trying to avoid that kind of situation.
私たちはその
I'm not looking for excuses or backtalk or a reply. I want nothing more than a swift confirmation of my order to eradicate the girls who are humiliating me. If you're gonna say something else, there's no need for me to listen until the end. Then there goes Leviathan. After Leviathan turned white from the vast number of cracks throughout her whole body, frozen and bent back towards pose, she toppled over and her fragile neck, hips, and arms broke into separate parts. It would have been less brutal if they had just smashed to smithereens instead of retaining their original form. So the fact that I had left the two of them partially intact made the remaining younger sisters shake even harder.
どうして私の命令を聞いてくれないのどうしてよ
恐れながら現在のこの場は反魔法力が
何よそれ人間がいるからダメってどういう理屈人間を殺すのがあんたたちの役目でしょそれができないならあんたたちは何のための家具なのよ
They're your friends, Enji.
死ね
お許しくださいエンジ様
A As she clutched her head with both arms, Satan also turned white and fell down face first. The neck really did seem to be the most fragile part. Her head broke off weightily and rolled over to Belphegor's feet.
人間が多いからダメなの？じゃあ私が後でこいつらを一人ずつ物陰に呼び出せたなら、あんたたちはきっちり全員を血祭りにできるというの？
現在のエンジェ様の魔力では私たちと会話する程度はたやすいでしょう。しかしこの場にいる全ての人間の前で権限するにはまだまだ魔力の錬成が足りません。お怒りは深く理解できますが、たとえ我らを攻撃に使えたとしてもこの場の全員を殺害することはかえって状況を悪くするだけです。
Belphegor, very rational.
屈辱的とは思いますが、どうかこの場は怒りを収められて。
あとの3人も同じ答えなの？反魔法力が高いからできないっていう？私に魔力が足りないからできないっていう？なら全員を殺せとは言わないわ。たった一人でいいから殺してみなさいよ。今すぐこの場で。
As Asmodeus and Beelzebub held each other, they crouched down, cringing in fear under my glare. If they had been able to obey my order, they probably would have carried it out immediately. And yet, here they were crouching down. Empty, sad, and pathetic. That's right, I knew it. These girls can't touch reality with even a single one of their fingers.
やだやだ、ベルゼ怖いよ。ベルゼ、エンジ様許してください、許してください。死にたくない。
死になさいよ、使えない家具。どうして生きてるの？あんたたち生きてる価値がないのになんで生きてるわけ？死ねばいいじゃん。死になさいよ。というかむしろ死ね。使い道のない家具を置いとくバカがいると思う？
She really is so cruel right now to the wrong person.
やめてください、エンジ様。何？マモ、あなただけは私の命令を遂行してくれるの？そうよね。私の一番のお友達だもんね。あなただけはやってくれるわよね。こいつらを。
今のエンジ様には私たちを刺激しても人殺しはできません。
So Beatrice's?
主にできることを手伝うのが家具の役目。主にすらできないことを私たちにはすることができない。エンジ様はこいつらが憎いですか？憎いですよね。殺したくなる気持ちよくわかります。ええ、どうぞ。ならば殺しましょうよ、エンジ様。エンジ様自らがその手を血に染めるならば、我ら煉獄の七姉妹どこまでもお供しましょうとも。どこまでも。
私にできないからあんたたちに頼んでるんでしょ？私にできないことをできるからあんたたちは家具なんでしょ？
And they wouldn't be furniture, right?
ええ、家具です。使われてこそ家具です。どうぞ我らを使って殺してください。殺すのはあなたです。エンジ様が殺したいというならどうぞご自由に。ためらうことはありません。どうぞ今すぐにそれを実行。そこまでの覚悟が伴って初めて、自らの手を汚す覚悟があって初めて。でもエンジ様はそれに至っていないんです。
語るな家具が。妄想がもう分かってるわよ。皆まで言わせないでよ。あんたたちには何もできない。あんたたちは所詮私の妄想、幻想、悪チューム。
So Beatrice was carrying out all the killings by herself?
私には初めから友達なんて一人もいないわ。孤独な私が心の中に生み出したお友達ごっこの幻影でしょ。知ってたのよ、最初っから。
ええ、
そうですよ。エンジェ様の頭の中の幻想ですけど何か？
If Mammon and the Seven Sisters are just fantasies created by Angie, then this Mammon standing in front of Angie right now is also probably manipulated or influenced by Angie to a certain extent too, right? Meaning that maybe this Mammon isn't the Mammon that is real. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say.
はい、そうです。私たちは友達のただ一人もいやしない。寂しい寂しいエンジ様の心を慰めるためだけに生み出されたお友達ごっこの脳内妄想ですが何か？見たければ現実を見るといい。私たちなんか見ないで。あそこで囲まれて罵声を浴びせられているあなたに戻るといい。ほらほら戻りなさいよ。都合のいい時だけ私たちを呼び出してお友達ごっこで自分の手を汚す覚悟もないくせにそれをけしかけダメと分かったら否定して消し去る。ええ、どうぞお楽しみくださいよ。エンジェ様がたった今浴びせられている罵声を私たちにも同じように浴びせかけて、それもまた家具の役目、ムカついて床に叩きつけられることもまた椅子の大事なお役目ですから。その程度のことで主の不機嫌を一時でも受け止められたなら家具としてこれほどの栄誉はありません。殺しなさいよ。否定しなさいよ。あなたの最初で最後の友達を。
Oh my goodness, your first and final friend. Oh. At the end, Mammon had a derisive expression on her face, but for some reason, it looked like teardrops had scattered from her eyes. God! Mammon, Beelzebub, and Asmodeus smashed to pieces and rolled across the floor. And what about Angie? What's gonna happen to her now? Oh, Sakutaro. Oh, yes. Sakutaro and Maria were watching.
こっちへおいで、サク太郎。今のエンジェは少し冷静じゃないだけ。だから、近寄っちゃダメだよ。みんなは、七姉妹のみんなは生きてるの？死んじゃったの？大丈夫だよ。とても無残な姿だけど、あれは人間界を強制退去させられて残された、よりしろの残滓、抜け殻だよ。だから大丈夫。とても傷ついただろうけど、無事だよ。みんな生きてるよ。きっといつか、また会えるよ。ウリュ、よかった。よかった。エンジェは、マリアージュ・ソルシエールの条約に違反した。同盟の魔女は、お互いを敬い、認め合わなくちゃならないのに。みんなエンジェの大切な、
そんな魔女の同盟なんて関係ない。魔法のお友達？いい加減にして。私が殺したわ。消し去った。私が七姉妹を砕け散らせた。
ウリュ、そんなのひどいよ。
もう、魔女ごっこはいい加減にして。お願いだから、マリアお姉ちゃんもサク太郎も、自ら消えてほしい。私が殺して消したなんて、妄想の中ですら、したくないから。
僕たちは妄想なんかじゃないよ。エンジェのお友達だよ。ウリュ。
Sakutaro sobbed those words as he hid behind Maria One-chan. Sakutaro doesn't exist. Sakutaro is also a delusion One-chan created to distract herself from her loneliness.
ウリュ。痛い。痛いよ。マリア。なんで、ウリュ。やめて。私のお友達を否定することだけは許さない。
Same power that had smashed the Seven Sisters was probably eating into Sakutaro as well. But Maria One-chan was apparently protecting him through some other power. So Sakutaro's form didn't break or scatter. One-chan glared at me sharply. A serious expression that she had never shown me before.
サク太郎は私の家具。エンジェには消せないよ。なのに、否定しようとするのは魔女にとって最大級の侮蔑も同じだよ。
サク太郎なんて、 最初から存在しないわ。ただのライオンのぬいぐるみ。それをお姉ちゃんがあたかも存在するかのように脳内で妄想して人格化したただの幻なのよ。
そんなことないよ。サク太郎はマリアのお友達なの。元はぬいぐるみだけど、今はぬいぐるみじゃないの。
いいえ、ぬいぐるみだわ。布と綿でできたぬいぐるみ。自ら喋れも動きもしない。お姉ちゃんはそれを腹話術みたいにして喋ってるだけじゃない。
Even when Sakutaro was just a stuffed animal, he is still Maria's precious, precious friend.
それが魔法？それが魔女？それが友達？そんなの私は認めないわ。
ウリュウ、僕じゃないの。僕はただのぬいぐるみで、本当は喋れなくて、マリアのお友達じゃないの。いや。
As though plagued by a high fever, Sakutaro weakened bit by bit. As he clung to Onechan's body, he did all he could to continue standing. But his body began to slip down bit by bit. As he did, Onechan held him and screamed at me as tears streamed down her face.
やめて！魔法の毒でサク太郎を焼かないで！いじめないで！侮辱しないで！否定しないで！マリアお姉ちゃん変なの。
Is this back in the past?
サク太郎なんかいないよ。ぬいぐるみはぬいぐるみだもん。
Glardorian?
布と綿でできてるってママに習ったもん。歩いたり喋ったりなんかできるわけないよ。ウリュ。
Oh, I feel so bad for Maria.
サク太郎！サク太郎！ぬいぐるみじゃないもん！ぬいぐるみじゃないもん！友達だもん！ぬいぐるみ遊びなんかよりみんなでお外で遊ぶ方がいい。ぬいぐるみもう飽きた。返事なんかもう知らない。なんでそんなこと言うの。嫌い大嫌い。絶好だ。もう魔女の仲間になんか入れてあげない。原初の魔女見習いマリアの名において、魔女見習いエンジェをマリアージュ・ソルシエール魔女同盟より。
Is this in the past? And then, those tranquil days of mine, now merely a waking dream, came to an end. At this point, it's unverifiable. No one can verify whether that really was magic and those really were my friends, or else whether it was at all nothing more than a daydream. I, the sole observer, concluded that those girls were a figment of my imagination. So that became the truth. Perhaps, further in the future, I will observe it again, and when that happens, maybe I will acknowledge that it wasn't a dream, that the seven sisters really were my friends, and that along with Maria Onechan and Sakutaro, they did everything they could for me in my isolation. Something so vague is neither the truth nor even an illusion. Maybe the reality that's here and now is the only real world with a real me. Where is the real me? Person standing among the girls' shameful remains, resembling broken glass sculptures, breathing harshly and shoulders heaving. That is not me. The place I am is over there. The one boxed in by a crowd, the one being subjected to constant verbal abuse, the one hanging her head with clearly red eyes. The me over there, Isn't that the real me? I won't dream anymore, because there is nowhere for me to run. I'll go back. I'll return myself to the cage made of flesh.
ねえ、話、いつまでもうつむいていても何の解決にもなりませんわよ。
聞こえてるわ。
ああ、やっと返事した。このまま黙ってれば終わるとか、泣けば許してもらえるとか、そういうこと考えてるんじゃないの？あんた、自覚あるかって聞いてるのよ。自分が周りに迷惑かけてるって自覚があるの。
I slowly nodded. I admitted it. I admitted that I had been spending my time in a waking dreamland trying to remain separate from the others in my class. Those friends who had spoken to me with such kind and hopeful words, yet who couldn't offer me any help at all now in the moment I truly wanted it. To move on from them and to sully them, I admitted it.
私、後宮エンジェは協調性がなくてクラスメートに迷惑をかけました。それは勉強ができないためクラスメート全体に対し過度の劣等感を持っていたからに他なりません。私は生きてても仕方ありません。
No, Angie. Starting there, I was no longer reading the paragraph they had made me write. It was my improvisation, sorry. And what was in my heart. They also noticed that it wasn't what they had anticipated. But while they did frown, no one spoke. So I continued.
そうです。私は生きてても仕方がなかった。1986年のあの日になのに私だけが連れて行ってもらえなかった。どうして私はここにいるのでしょう。ここは私のいる世界じゃない。誰も助けてくれません。一時私の中に生まれた架空の友人たちだけが。でも友人たちは所詮は妄想で。だってここは妄想の世界じゃなくて現実の世界だから。だからつまり私は今日までずっと現実のクラスメートを嫌い、妄想の友人たちとの交流の中だけに生きた。その友人たちとはさっき決別しました。だから私がここにいます。家族もいません。友人も捨てました。もう私には何も残っていません。どうして死なないの？さっきそう聞いた人がいました。その通りだと思います。どうして私は生きてるんでしょう。1986年の私はきっと死んだんです。なのに私の殺された魂は未だにこの肉の檻に閉じ込められている。だから誰かに求めよう。それに誰も答えてくれないなら自分でしよう。
Angie.
誰か私を死なせてください。
I spoke that sentence and looked around. Dumbfounded girls. Shocked girls. Girls who looked like they didn't know what this kid was saying. And, after a small delay, more and more girls with faces that said, "Is this kid alright?" Whisper, whisper. Mutter, mutter. And then, giggle, giggle. God. When I ordered my friends in my daydream to kill, they couldn't do it. And so, I asked real humans to kill. But of course, these girls can't do it either. In other words, both daydreams and reality are the same. Doesn't that mean that everything, absolutely everything, this world included, is all a daydream? Then, what's the problem? After all, on that day when I lost my entire family, I already died. All the days since have been the delusions of a wrongful survivor. illusions of a life flashing before my eyes. Once I understood that, it felt like all the scenery surrounding me began to twist and bend slightly. I'm finally going to wake up. I'm finally gonna be released from this world of waking dreams. Angie. I felt my consciousness sliding away. That's alright. Fade further and further away and take me to my family. Therefore, no matter what unfolded in this twisted, fated world, I paid it no mind at all. I saw the crowd get pushed aside as a teacher stepped in. Perhaps a teacher doing the rounds happened to notice a strange disturbance. The teacher was vigorously shouting something, moving to protect me. Upon seeing that and learning that an ally had appeared for me, even if only one, I felt my awareness return very slightly. Please be a good teacher. The only one who can save me in a real world are real humans. Never again will I seek salvation from daydreams. This is the human world. The only ones who can save a human are other humans.
<sighs> そうだね。エンジェがそう思ったなら、それがエンジェの世界。エンジェはこれで幸せになれる？エンジェがそれでしか幸せになれないと信じたなら、もうそれしかない。カゴの中にいる青い鳥をそうだと認められないなら、どこまでも探しに行かざるを得ない。
The bluebird, happiness. If she cannot accept happiness for what it is, then she must go and search forever.
ウリュウ、マリアとエンジェはもう絶好なの？絶好なんかじゃないよ。エンジェがそれを求めたからそうしただけ。私たち魔女は時に迫害を受けるけれども、でも常にみんなの身近にある。そしてきっとその助けを求められる。エンジェもまた僕たちと遊んでくれる日が来る？来ないでそのまま忘れてしまうこともあるかもしれない。人の世ではそれを成長や決別と呼ぶから。でも
If Angie remembers, we will always be by her side. And until then, we will be waiting. Ah! Glass breaking got me again. We haven't had that one in a long time. Sakutaro.
ウリュウ、マリア、返事して。ウリュウ、やっぱり僕はぬいぐるみなの？布と綿でできてるから喋れるわけないの？だからマリアとはおしゃべりできないの？
Sakutaro looked up at Maria sadly. Maria's face was covered with tears, and she looked as though she had even lost the emotion of sadness.
聞こえてるよ、サクタロウ。サクタロウは布と綿でできたぬいぐるみなんかじゃないよ。マリアのお友達だよ。エンジェなんか嫌い。ウリュウ、マリアごめんね。マリアごめんね。ウリュウ。
Sakutaro felt regret. By freezing her heart, Maria had finally been able to escape from her sadness. By speaking up and calling her back, he had caused her to become overwhelmed with sadness again. Sakutaro tried toddling up to Maria and hugging her, then letting go. Gazing at her appearance uneasily and trying it again, lost as to how he could bring Maria's spirits up. He might have looked a little humorous doing that. As a result, that was able to divert Maria's feelings from sadness.
ごめんね。もう泣いても仕方ないもんね。エンジェとは喧嘩しちゃったけど、マリアにはまだたくさん友達がいるよ。
I'm once again reminded by just how quick Maria had to mature in her circumstances. He's a lot more, I guess mature is the word for it, understanding, mature than Angie is. But well, it's not my place to say. I just don't know if that's a very good thing.
僕だけじゃない。みんなもいるよ。サクスケも、サク吉も、動物の音楽隊も、他にも。
Maria looked at the many stuffed animals around her pillow, which were gathered together as though they were having a conference.
みんな、マリアのこと心配してるよ。どうしたらマリアが元気になってくれるかなって、ずっと相談しているよ。
みんなはエンジェみたいにいなくならない？
ならないよ。僕たちはいつだって一緒だよ。
本当に？サク太郎たちは家でしか一緒じゃないよ。ママと一緒にお出かけできないし、学校にも一緒に行けないよ。
僕たちは学校に行っちゃいけないから。先生に見つかったら怒られちゃうもん。でも、見つからないならいつだって一緒にいていいんだよ。
サク太郎、大きいから見つかっちゃうね。
だったら、小さくて持ち歩ける子と一緒に行けばいいよ。例えば、ほら、森の音楽隊の仲間たちなら、ほら、小さいからマリアのポケットに隠れて一緒に学校に行けるよ。
I want to see them.
音楽隊いっぱいいるよ。ポケットに入りきらないよ。
He gathered all the forest band pieces that were scattered across her bed. There were about as many of them as pieces in a chess set, though it would probably be impossible to fit them all in her pocket.
なら、特に仲良しのお友達だけを連れて行くといいよ。森の音楽隊の中で一番マリアと仲良しのウサギの4人組を連れてくといいよ。
The four rabbits. This reminds me of the sisters, the Chester sisters.
4つならポケットに入る。これなら見つからないね。
だから、マリアはこれで学校でも一人ぼっちじゃないよ。僕が一緒に行けないところでも、この子たちなら一緒にいてくれるよ。
なら、寂しくないかも。お家に帰ってくるまで我慢できるかも。
ママと先生にさえ見つからなければ、僕たちはいつだって一緒にいられるんだよ。そして、いつまでも一緒にいよう。遊んでいよう。僕たちはマリアを絶対に一人ぼっちになんかさせないから。うりゃ！
Maria's expression finally regained a little of its brightness. That's right. Thinking about it, my world didn't start out with Angie in it. Even without Angie, everyone was together and it was fun. Though it's weird to suddenly get sad just because Angie's gone when she was the last to come in. All that's happened is that I've returned to the world right before Angie entered it. So there's nothing to be sad about. Huh.
寂しくないよ。サク太郎もみんなも一緒だもん。
うりゅう！マリア、大好き！
もう人間なんかに、マリアの世界には誰も立ち入らせないよ。マリアージュ・ソルシエールは、マリアとベアトリーチェだけの二人きりの同盟。
Maria dipping too deep into this might be a bad thing though.
もともとベアともエンジェを加えるのには反対してたし、これでいいんだもんね。エンジェはまだ幼すぎたんだよ。
エンジェのことは、また仲良しになれるまで当分を忘れていていいと思うよ。マリアがまた元気を取り戻せたら一緒に遊べばいいよ。それまで僕たちみんながずっとそばにいるからね。
Is Maria referring to the incident that we just saw in the school? Or is she referring to what happened in the past when Angie was a kid? It's hard to tell because Maria, unfortunately, just doesn't grow up.
ありがとう、サク太郎。みんな。
Then, I once again regained my former world. I regained a world where I wasn't lonely and where I was surrounded by many friends. As always, I didn't have any human friends at school, but my magic friends were always with me. Even during class, I could hear the rabbit band hiding in my pocket, talking together and giggling, and they sounded like they were having a lot of fun. Just listening to that added a lot of color to those lonely school hours. I made sure that my other friends too were always with me, as long as Mama and the teacher wouldn't find out. When Mama told me to go play outside, I would secretly pack Sakutaro and Sakusuke and the rest into my bag and play together at the library or somewhere. And when Mama was late coming home and I went shopping for dinner, I always went with them. It's really similar to how Angie has the 7 sisters with her. Well, not anymore, but before, yes. Okay, wait. Sorry, suddenly it popped into my head. That's why Mammon didn't get along with Angie when she appeared in The World Battler, because of what happened between her and Mammon in the past. Oh. The men working at the convenience store were always nice to Sakutaro. Sometimes they even gave me 2 extra things for free, one for me and one for Sakutaro. Whenever Mama found out, I would get in trouble for bringing Sakutaro and the rest outside. Whenever the teacher found out, I would get in trouble for bringing toys to school. The toxin must be strong in Mama and the teacher. That's why Sakutaro and the others just looked like normal stuffed animals to them. After all, the men at the convenience store say hello to Sakutaro. Not all humans are worthless. That is so sad to think that way. There are a ton of people who, unlike Angie and Mama and my teacher, can say hello to my magic friends like I can.
マリアちゃんかい。いらっしゃい。今夜もママは帰りが遅いのかい？
でも、サクタロたちも一緒だから寂しくないの。ねえ、サクタロ。
ウリュウ、今日はね、僕だけじゃないんだよ。他のお友達も一緒なんだよ。
おや、他のお友達かい。
So he can hear Sakutaro? Well, I'm still guessing that it's really Maria who is voicing Sakutaro. But this is how Maria wants to portray Sakutaro and the rest to others.
今日はどんなお友達が一緒なんだい？
今日はね、森の音楽隊のウサギさんたちも一緒。ほら、ポケットに入ってるの。
Maria began to line up 4 ceramic rabbit dolls on the register. As the owner of the shop looked at them with a smile, he signaled a part-timer with his chin. The sign on the other register that said close was taken down, and the part-timer called out for everyone to move over there. All of the people in line behind Maria formed a new line over there instead.
そうかそうか。マリアちゃんにはお友達がいっぱいだね。ママも早く帰ってきてくれればいいのに。
ママはまたお仕事が忙しくて会社にお泊まりなの。
I'm pretty sure this is not very safe to say out to people, but hopefully the convenience store person is nice.
最近はよく忙しくなるの。マリアと電話でお話しする時間も全然取れない。でも寂しくないよ。マリアにはサクタロたちがいるもん。ねえ。ウリュウ。ウサギの音楽隊のみんなも一緒だもん。ほら、キューキュー。
ウサギの鳴き声ってキューキューだったっけ？はて、そういや聞いたことないな。
After smiling at Sakutaro, who was poking his head out of her knapsack, she played around the rabbit band on a register, making them frolic around. So that's how it is. Even as he gazed at this heartwarming sight, the shop manager had a slightly pitying look on his face. This was apparently a family without a father, and where the mother had to work hard and couldn't come home very often. On top of that, it looked like this girl didn't even have any friends. As he watched this girl play around happily with her dolls and claim that she wasn't lonely despite everything, he couldn't help but feel a kind of compassion. And actually, this wasn't limited to him alone. Maria had become very famous in the shopping district.
マリアちゃん、 たまにはおでんも食べなさい。卵とか練り物とか食べないと大きくなれないよ。
おー、クリームパンじゃダメ？
ウリュウ、いろいろ食べないと大きくなれないよ。今日はおでんにしよう。
おー、じゃあおでんにする。
そうしなさい。おじさんが多めに入れておくよ。からしいる？
ウリュウ、辛いのは苦手。
そうかそうか。じゃあこぼさないように持って帰りな。温かいうちが美味しいよ。
But it's at least kind of nice that the people in the neighborhood seem to watch out or look out for Maria.
ありがとう。
She had planned on getting some sweet pastries for dinner like usual, but since oden had been recommended to her, she would be having that tonight instead. Letting someone else determine the menu makes for an unexpected and interesting meal. Very often, Maria had to decide on her own what to have for dinner, so it was easy for the menu to get a little one-sided. So it felt fun to look forward to a meal she hadn't anticipated.
ウリュウ、おじさん、おまけしてくれてありがとう。
お家にいる他のお友達にもよろしくね。途中でつまみ食いしちゃダメだよ。まっすぐお家へ帰ってから食べ。
おじさん、ありがとう。
Maria held the bag with the oden container high for all to see. She's so happy. Huh? Oh no.
おー、
What's happening?
あれ、ウリュウ、どうしたの、マリア。
I don't have a good feeling.
ポケットに鍵がない。
Standing in front of the door to her house, Maria searched and patted all over her body. The key to the house wasn't there. She always methodically put it in the same pocket, so there was no way she had put it in another pocket, but she searched her whole body just in case. It really wasn't there.
お財布を出した時に落とした？
お財布を出してしまう時にはちゃんと手応えがあったもん。途中でポケットを探った時にもちゃんと手応えがあった。途中まではあったの。落としてなんかいない。
The late autumn wind had been made bearable by the thought of the heater that was waiting at home. But now that Maria had lost her key and had no idea what to do, she was really feeling it. But no matter how hard she searched, she couldn't find her key. She turned out all of her pockets and even tried taking off her jacket and hitting it, but to no avail. Of course, she also turned the knapsack Sakutaro was in upside down, but no key came out. Oh no. This must be really frightening. Something that should have been there wasn't where it was supposed to be. Why isn't the key there when I didn't do anything wrong? Why isn't it? Why? Why? Huh? Maria stamped on the ground, cold and frustrated and angry. The bottom of her foot throbbed, but even so, it didn't lessen her frustration. Before long, bitter tears were pouring down her face. No, I can't understand this. It's that feeling of frustration where you can't express yourself in any other way. But yeah, I don't know how to put it into words. But I feel like I can understand. It wasn't her fault, though it was someone else's. But Maria didn't know who that someone was and could do nothing but continue to let out a moan of anger.
ウリュウ、きっと途中で落としたんだよ。探そう。来た道を戻って探そう。
せっかくおでん買ったのに、卵とかおまけしてもらったのに、あったかいうちに食べられない。
マリア、悔しいけど探そう。誰も悪くないよ。探そう。
Maria finally lent an ear to Sakutaro's words and began to plot back the way she came. The wind was colder than it had been, and felt like it was blowing in through the gaps in her jacket to spite her.
ウリュウ、しっかり足元を見て探そう。そして早くお家に帰って田んぼで温まりながらおでんを食べよう。きっと美味しいよ。
ない。ない。
As Sakataro encouraged her, Maria searched for the key. But she made it all the way back to the convenience store where she bought the oden. She hadn't found it. Just in case, she asked the men at the convenience store whether they had found a dropped key, but they hadn't found anything. One more time, she returned home, paying close attention to the area around her feet. But still, she didn't find it. She was no longer frustrated enough to stomp her feet, but hot tears dripped down her face. The oden was stone cold. Even though the man at the shop had said to eat it while it was hot, she hadn't been able to. He had given her so much extra stuff for
ウ
free.
リュウ、泣かないで。ママは今夜帰ってこないんだよ。頑張って探そう。
なんで見つからないの？
マリア、泣かないで。頑張って探そう。マリア。
Maria was no longer able to hold back her tears. Sobbing, clutching Sakataro, and with the oden bag in her hand, she returned once more down the road she had come by. Perhaps because it was now later at night, and more houses and stores had turned their lights off by now, it was even darker and harder to search than before. And, once again, without finding the key, she returned to the convenience store.
マリアちゃん、鍵まだ見つからないのかい？
鍵ない。
お母さん、今日は泊まりだっけ？鍵ないとお家入れないの？
入れない。
そりゃ困ったね。交番には行ってみた。届いてるかもしれないよ。
ママがおまわりさんに話しかけられてもお話ししちゃダメって言った。
That is so weird. But it's also because Rosa is probably gonna be taken away for child neglect.
そりゃまたどうして？
It was probably because Rosa felt guilty for making such a young girl as Maria watch over the house by herself, and because she knew that this was not socially acceptable. So she had indoctrinated Maria into changing the stores she bought things at so that she didn't catch the eyes of adults, and saying no more than a greeting to policemen, even if they talked to her. Maria had obediently done as she was told. Instead of considering why she had to do that, honestly obeying because her mother had told her so was far more important to her. But the manager of the convenience store probably didn't think of it that way. Naturally, seeing such a young girl being forced to watch over the house alone, and so frequently, would cause anyone to worry. And then, after making a round trip between her home and the store once more, and arriving at the convenience store for a third time, a policeman was there.
あの子です。マリアちゃん、鍵見つかったかい？
見つからない。
お嬢ちゃん、お名前は？
The policeman asked her name, but Maria didn't answer.
お母さんにおまわりさんとお話ししちゃいけないって言われてるの？大丈夫だよ。おじさんは怖くないよ。お嬢ちゃんは晩ご飯は食べた？
買ったけど、お家に入れないから食べられない。
お母さんはどうしてるの？今日は帰ってこないの？お仕事？お母さんの会社の連絡先わかるかな？
Oh no, I don't have a good feeling about this because even though it's such an obvious thing to do, but there's one of two things that could happen, right? It's either Rosa feels sorry or guilty for what she's done, or Rosa gets mad and flares up at Maria for embarrassing her. Maria hung her head limply. She didn't understand why the policeman was getting mad at her. No, he probably wasn't getting mad at her, but if this reached her mother's ears, she would definitely be in trouble. Even if she didn't understand the reason why she would be in trouble, she at least understood that much. But the policeman wouldn't let Maria go, and her head was swimming from hunger. The policeman noticed that and it was decided that they could talk as they ate in the police box. I was taken to the police box. I had my oden heated in a microwave oven, and there were even salty rice cakes and hot tea brought out for me. A police box? I've been told not to talk to policemen, but as I answered questions about Sakutaro, I started to feel like he wasn't a bad person, and I wouldn't be able to return home anyway, so I didn't know what to do, so I told him Mama's work phone number, which I wasn't supposed to tell anyone, and was told to use only in a very, very serious situation, which I think this counts. In the tatami room inside the police box, as I ate the oden that was so hot it felt like it would burn me, I watched the policeman making the phone call and lazily thought, I'm probably going to get in trouble.
マリア、ママに怒られるかな。
ウリュウ。
Oh. He must have been listening to the phone ringing for a very long time. With the receiver up to his ear, the policeman looked at the clock and grumbled.
営業時間終えちゃってるから出ないのかな。もしもし、もしもし、有限会社アンチローザさんで。こちら、小松川警察署千本桜駅前交番でございます。う大館じゃないや、後宮社長さんはいらっしゃいますか？
Udaikan. I'll search that up. No, I don't know it is. Udaikan. It's a misreading. The officer mistook the last kanji Mia for kun. This would also have caused him to pick the wrong reading for dai due to the existence of daikan. Okay, okay. Makes sense.
はい。はい。休暇中？
Vacation?
はい。社長は昨日から3日間休暇になってます。どういったご用件で？
I don't know. I don't like this.
いや。それで、どちらにおられるかわかりますかね？連絡先とか聞いてたりしませんかね？
ちょっとお待ちいただいてよろしいですか？ねえ、誰か社長の旅行先聞いてる？連絡先。
彼氏と札幌カニ食い放題って聞きました。いいなぁ。寒いとこだと自然と2人の距離も縮まるのよね。連絡先は聞いてないよ。
了解。もしもし、札幌に行ってるそうですけど、連絡先まではちょっとわかりません。ご伝言しますか？
そうですか。参ったな。
I'm really speechless and also very angry towards Rosa. But as of right now, we don't really know what the full story is. It sounds like Rosa is going away on a vacation and leaving Maria behind while pretending it's about work, and that would also explain the whole thing about the train ticket, I think, that she dropped. But I want to have a bit of faith in Rosa, despite how bad she's behaved in the past. Let's see. Let's take a look.
じゃあ、もし連絡がつきましたら、こちらから電話があったとお伝えできますか？はい。
After that, I was taken to the police station, which was bigger than a police box, and they said I could spend the night there. And they asked me all kinds of things about myself. A lady who called herself the district welfare officer came by and asked about various things. I can't tell if this is after. No, wait, it has to be after. No, before. Sorry, before Rokkenjima. Of course it has to be before. And she said to me, "You poor thing." When I heard that, I learned for the first time.
マリアって、かわいそうだったの？
ウリュウ、そんなことないよ。マリアは幸せ。
ほー。
Poor Maria. And Rosa. Rosa's not happy, which is never a good thing. And Rosa came back. Maria was told to go to her room, but on her way back from the bathroom, she hid by the entrance to the living room and listened in on the exchange. The person who had come to visit was a female district welfare officer who had asked Maria various questions the other day.
そういう押し付けは困ります。マリアは心が純粋すぎて繊細だから、無神経な子がいたら傷つけられてしまうんです。余計なおせっかいはやめてください。
でもね、お母さん、そんなに繊細な子ならなんで一人で家に放置しておくの？お母さんが一緒にいてあげるべきなんじゃないですか？
なるべく一緒にいるようにしています。そんなことあなたに指図される覚えはありません。
そうですか。この辺のご近所ではとても有名ですよ。お宅のお嬢さんが夜頻繁に買い物や食事に来るってみんな気にしてて気を使ってくれてたんですよ。
どうしてうちの子だとわかるんですか？子供なんて街中にいくらでもいるじゃないですか。勝手にうちのマリアだと決めつけないでください。夜に出歩く子供だってたまにはいるでしょう。それらが全てうちの子だという証拠でもあるんですか？
I don't know. Some people just never seem to think that anything is your fault. And truly, Rosa is like a kid that hasn't grown up either. Very similar to Beatrice, I guess.
ライオンのぬいぐるみを抱いた女の子がよく夕食を食べに来る、買いに来るって商店街でもとても有名だったんですよ。みんなマリアちゃんのことを思って大切にしてくれてました。
I'm just very worried that this won't affect how Rosa stop. How do I say this? I'm just scared that Rosa will not stop neglecting Maria, but instead she will amp up whatever she's been doing before and hurting Maria.
時には夜道は危ないからと自宅まで送ってくれる方もいたんですよ。
ライオンのぬいぐるみなんてどこにでもあります。自宅まで送るなんて余計なお世話です。マリアを誘拐するつもり？マリアに構わないで。マリアは私の子です。私が育ててます。おかしな施設に入れるつもりもまるでありません。
Are they talking about putting her up for adoption or something?
余計なおせっかいはやめて。
ウリュウ、ライオンのぬいぐるみって僕のこと？大丈夫だよ。怒られるのはマリアだよ。サクタロは関係ないよ。
Maria hugged Sakutaro, continuing to watch her mother fearfully.
私もマリアと毎日一緒にいられたらと思います。でもシングルマザーですから働かなくちゃならない。私はこう見えても会社の社長ですから社員の生活も背負っている。一年中仕事で忙しいんですよ。休む暇だってないんです。
Which definitely directly contradicts with what we found out from the police officer's call.
そう？でもこの3日間お休みだったんでしょ？
休みなんかじゃありません。私はずっと会社で泊まりがけで仕事をしていました。
And that can be easily fact-checked.
他の頼りない社員では片付けられない案件が私には山積みなんです。
どうしてそんな嘘つくの？あなたの会社の人が3日間お休みを取ってますって言ってるのよ。
I'm sorry I'm interjecting a lot in the conversation, but truth be told, we can't tell who is lying. It could be Rosa, it could be her employees, because it sounds like Rosa is trying to push the blame onto the employees, and maybe they don't have a good relationship, and so the employees are trying to put her in a bad spot, but also, you know, it really could be anything, and we don't know the full story.
彼氏さんと北海道に行ってきたんでしょ？娘さんを3日間も置いて。
彼氏なんて知りません。北海道なんて知りません。どうしてそんなデタラメ言うの？どうしてなんか証拠でもあるの？ 何よあんた、勝手に人の家のことに口を出さないでよ。私はマリアを愛してるのよ。私には私なりの愛し方があるのよ。勝手に口出さないでよ。私は旅行になんて行ってないわよ。仕事してたのよ、ずっと。マリアに1秒でも早く会いたくて、仕事を少しでも早く片付けようと一生懸命会社に泊まり込んで、ずっと知らない北海道なんて知らないわよ。勝手なこと言わないで。もう帰ってよ。何なのよあんたは。帰って。
Oh. Rosa raged, her hair flying wildly. She stood up with such force that her teacup fell over, and far louder than that noise was the sound of her beating the table with both hands. When faced with this rage that could accurately be described as wide-eyed derangement, the female welfare officer couldn't help but be taken aback. And the same went for Maria, who was secretly watching this from the hallway. She had seen her mother enraged several times before, but she had never seen her go this berserk with anger. Seeing this, Maria was sure this was no longer her mother. It was some other evil being that was possessing her mother's body. And then, the evil being discovered her. Oh no! Maria learned that she was being reflected in the evil being's eyes. Her mind went blank, and she felt as though her field of vision was racing off into the distance. After fiercely closing in on Maria, Rosa mercilessly bore down on her small shoulders and dropped her gaze onto the stuffed animal Maria was holding, Sakutaro.
マリア、あなた、あれだけお外にそれを持って行っちゃダメって言ったのに、持って行ったのね。
ウリュウ、マリアは悪くないよ。僕がついていくって言ったの。違うよ。マリアが寂しいから勝手にサクタロを連れてったの。だからママ、サクタロは悪くないの。ウリュウ、マリア。サクタロは悪くないよ。サクタロは悪くないよ。
The brunt of Rosa's anger was aimed not at Maria, but at the lion-stuffed animal Maria was holding. A girl came shopping in the middle of the night, always clutching a lion-stuffed animal. Because of that, she had become well known in the shopping district. Oh no.
ぬいぐるみ持ってっちゃダメって言ったでしょ。どうしてあんたはママの言うことが聞けないのよ。どうしてよ。どうしてママの言いつけがちゃんと守れないのよ、あんたは。
With every single word, she stamped her heel and banged fiercely on the wall. Admittedly, she wasn't making direct contact with Maria. However, the violence of that harsh sound certainly beat against her.
お母さん、おやめなさい。話してよ。話せって言ってんでしょ。
The welfare officer had come back to her senses and put Rosa in a full Nelson. But the instant Rosa was touched, she went wild, furiously throwing the welfare officer off. Oh no. She hit the table and fell to the ground. A teacup on the table smashed on the floor, making a violent sound.
マリアは悪くないよ。僕が悪いの。だからマリアを叱らないで。サクタロを連れてったのはマリア。サクタロは悪くないの。サクタロは悪くないの。だからサクタロをそんな怖い目で見ないで。マリアを叱らないで。マリアを叱らないで。ウリュー。
あんた、さっきから何をやってるの？あんた、そのお人形さんごっこ、外でもやってたの？
Right, so Rosa's reaction, I mean, I think we can all tell that Maria is voicing Sakutaro, but I guess in this scenario it might be a little strange for her to still play like that? I don't know.
お店の人の前でもやってたの？ だから覚えられちゃうんでしょ。少しは考えろこのバカ。なんであんたはそう大バカなのよ。
I really, 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 really hate this.
正直におっしゃいな。お外でお買い物をするとき、ママに内緒でいつもそのぬいぐるみを持ち歩いてたのね。
ウリュウ。
その変なぬいぐるみ語をやめなさい。ぬいぐるみじゃなく、あなたの言葉で喋りなさい。
サク太郎はぬいぐるみじゃないよ。マリアの友達だよ。ぬいぐるみって言わないで。言わないで。
はいはい、わかったわ。サク太郎だったわね、名前。ママに内緒でそのサク太郎人形を持っていつもお買い物に行っていたのね。
Maria admitted it honestly. If she hadn't admitted it, then Sakutaro would have said something to take the blame. So by admitting it right away, she was protecting her small friend.
サク太郎だけ？他には？まさか学校にも何か変なのを持って行ってるんじゃないでしょうね。
They're not weird.
お母さん、お嬢さんは悪くないでしょう。その質問をおやめなさい。あんたは黙ってなさい。私と娘の話でしょ。ほらマリア、ママの目を見て話をしなさい。
I really, really, really hate this. At what point do you draw the line between disciplining your child and abuse?
ママの質問にお返事は？
サク太郎だけじゃないの。ウサギのみんなも一緒。
今も持ってるの？
おう。
Maria fished around in her pocket and pulled out those 4 ceramic rabbits with her tiny hand. The rabbits were her precious friends who could go to school with her in Sakutaro's place. But when Rosa saw that, she shook her head slightly as though dizzy. In Maria's communication booklet, a note had been written that Maria was apparently bringing toys to school and playing with them, and it requested Rosa to give her home instructions to try to prevent this. Okay, I have to see what this communication booklet is though. A communication booklet is a notebook which elementary schoolers in Japan take to school with them, used as a short message communication tool between parents and teachers. For instance, the students will be told to write down information that parents need to know about the next day of classes. Parents can use them to keep teachers informed of lost items, health issues, or request that their child skips a gym class. And because children tend to go to school in groups, notices of absence or lateness can also be written in them, and the booklet handed to the group. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Still though, I don't know. But Rosa had dismissed a teacher's comment as fault-finding, and on the contrary, had phoned the school to make a complaint of her own. I know, there are some parents who really like to complain about every single thing to school, and that is really annoying as well. Saying that there was no way her child would bring toys to school. For nearly an hour, she had shouted at the vice principal to stop making false accusations about her daughter. To a certain degree, the school grasped that Maria was a pitiful girl. They knew that the small toys she brought in were her only friends, so they had done their best to overlook it. But when the other students caught sight of them, some of the boys started complaining that she was allowed to bring toys, only her, and the school had racked their brains on how to cope with this. They had tried to gently send a warning by way of the mother. Okay, but first of all, okay, this is probably not the best place to talk about it, but like, why is that their only solution? Isn't it better if they are able to foster a good environment where Maria can express herself and also make friends with the other students? But after Rosa's overreaction, even Maria's teacher had decided to overlook it. But now, Rosa knew. She had been the one who was wrong, and her daughter really had been bringing toys into school. And the school had seen the sorry side of her bringing toys into school and playing with them as her only friends. To Rosa, who knew her daughter was a little different from normal children, having this peculiar side of her daughter exposed and found fault with was more unbearable than anything. So she howled. She raged. The welfare officer tried to cut between Rosa and Maria again, but she only met with Rosa's wrath again. Rosa once again threw the woman off with a face like a demon, and when even that failed to curb her anger, she stomped on the ground over and over again so forcefully that it seemed she might break through the floor. Then, after seeming to come back to her senses for just a second, she suddenly froze her rough breathing and asked Maria.
マリア、そのウサギの音楽隊はマリアの大切なお友達？そう、4人もお友達がいてよかったわ。
As she said that, Rosa took one of the rabbits from Maria's hand. Then she shoved it in front of Maria's eyes so she could see it very well. It was a cute little doll, like a chess piece, of a rabbit holding a trumpet. She slowly lifted it into the air. Of course, Maria's and Sakutaro's eyes also followed it. I don't have a good feeling. She's gonna throw it down, I think. Oh. And then, with a speed that the eye couldn't follow, she hurled it against the wall. I knew it! Oh. She had half imagined that this worst possible thing might happen, so she instantly realized what had been done. So Maria let out a short, despairing scream. It was in pieces. It had been small and sturdy, but not enough to accept her mother's fierce rage.
ママの言うことをちゃんと聞かないから一つ壊れちゃったわ。
What a bad lesson to teach a kid.
今後ママの言うことを守らないたびにまた一つ壊すからね。
She's ruling with fear.
覚えておきなさい。あなたそんなことするなんて母親ですか？そんなことしてお嬢さんが傷つかないと思ってるんですか？マリアが傷つく？私も傷ついているのよ。私の傷は誰が責任取ってくれるのよ。誰が？あんたは黙っててって言ってるでしょ。
やめてママ。悪いのはマリア。おばさんを怒らないで。
マリアは悪くないよ。僕が悪いの。マリアを怒らないで。うりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅう。
そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって言ったでしょ。大体ね、気持ち悪いのよ。ぬいぐるみがお友達ってあんた今年でいくつよ？何歳よ？こんなの布と綿の気持ち悪い下手くそなぬいぐるみじゃない。こんなのしか友達いないのあんた。こんな化け物のぬいぐるみとお友達ごっこしてる暇があったらちゃんとした人間の友達を作りなさいよ。なんであなたにはいつまでもお友達ができないのよ。そうなんだからいつまでもクラスで変わり者扱いされてバカにされて。もうほんとしっかりしていい加減にして。こんなぬいぐるみ遊びもう卒業しちゃってよ。
うりゅう
だからそのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって言ってるでしょ。
ママ返して。サク太郎返して。
You know, I think I've said this like multiple times before, but while Maria's position sucks, I think Rosa's position also sucks. So both of them are really hurting, just as Rosa says that she has wounds too. But still, I don't think this is how she should go about it. Oh no, she's tapping on it? Mama grabbed hold of Sakutaro's head and snatched him from me. Then she smashed him against the wall over and over. God.
やめろっつってんのよ。そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろっつってんでしょ。
こんなぬいぐるみがあるから。だからあんたはいつまでも友達を作らないのよ。だから一人だけクラスで浮いてておかしな子扱いされるんでしょうが。こんなぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。こんな気持ち悪いぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。
やめてー。サク太郎返して、サク太郎返して。サク太郎はマリアのお友達なの、親友なの。サク太郎さえいれば他には何もいらない。だから返して、返して。
For some reason, my frantic request just added oil to the fire of Mama's anger. As I pulled on Sakutaro, trying to take him back, Mama pushed my arm aside, and in a bizarre way, she stuck her fingernails on both hands deep into Sakutaro, twisting him. The red scarf, which I had carefully wrapped for him every day, came undone and fell to the floor. Sakutaro, who had been so precious to me, he was crumpled, twisted, torn at with fingernails so much. He was twisted in pain, his face grimacing so sadly. Then Mama's fingernails found a stitch on the neck and tore it. With the fingernails of both hands, she tore him apart. Oh God. Oh goodness. I hope Sakutaro is fine, but I don't think he is. In that instant, Sakutaro's yellow cloth and the cotton inside burst apart. It looked almost like moist cotton candy.
リア、サク太郎、お、リュウ、太郎、
I think Sakutaro speaking is probably a mix of Maria speaking aloud and Maria speaking in her heart, or more like Sakutaro speaking in her heart. The crumpled yellow cloth and the cotton candy that was flowing out were thrust right in front of my eyes. Then, through Mama's face, the evil being stated it clearly.
サク太郎は死んでしまいました。
Oh, wait, I'm very scared. What is that? Oh no, I'm very scared. Ah, no, I hate this. I was gonna say something about how, I think Maria's just imagining like the witch's laugh. But God, I'm really scared of a jump scare right now. I'm gonna click. Oh, wait, I'm very scared. Oh! Ikuguki? Futaro Sakuta at Ooh. Wow. Sorry. I was really scared by the text. Futaro Sakutaro. Maria's crying through her words. Oh, oh God.
Maria.
I was expecting a jump scare worse than this, but this is okay.
泣くんでない。
ベアトリーチェ、ベアトリーチ
ェ。サク太郎は良き友人であった。そなたがそれを忘れぬ限り、常にそなたと共にある。だから泣くんでない。
生き返らせて。ベアとはいろんな魔法が使えるんだもんね。サク太郎だって生き返らせられるよね。
それは無論サク太郎がわらわの家具だったならそれもたやすい。しかし 作太郎はそなたの家具だ。わらわにそれは難しい。
I'm not sure about that. I think that's an excuse.
難しいってことは無理じゃないんだよね。生き返らせて、無限の魔法で生き返らせて。
実はな、作太郎のよりしろはローザの手作りのぬいぐるみであったろう。そのローザが作太郎を否定した。母にその生を許されなかった命は存在できぬのだ。
To me, I see a parallel between what happened with Angie and the Seven Sisters, as well as, and here with Maria and Beatrice. Beatrice being unable to carry out Maria's orders is kind of similar to Angie and the Seven Sisters, I think. Maybe Maria is just imagining Beatrice and she can't imagine something that cannot really take place? Something like that, maybe? Beatrice's words were feeble, because she knew that, no matter what the excuse, it wouldn't be enough to calm Maria and make her accept it. But she had to communicate the painful truth to her disciple and close friend. She had to tell her the fact that even with all of her own magic, even she could not revive Sakutaro.
そなたが作太郎の存在を強く信じる限り、その魂が消え去ることはない。だからマリア、どうか悲しむな。今もほら、すぐそこで作太郎が微笑んでいると信じるのだ。
作太郎を生き返らせてくれなきゃ嫌だ。
諦めよ。作太郎を蘇らせる魔法はない。そしてそれでもなお作太郎がそなたの親友であり続けることを強く信じよ。その力が魔法となる。
そんなの魔法じゃない。魔法じゃない。作太郎が生き返らなきゃ嫌だ。ママの手作りだからダメなの。どうしてママは作太郎を作ったの？マリアにプレゼントするためじゃないの？マリアのお友達にするためじゃないの？なのに、なんでママは自分で作って自分で壊したの？どうしてママは自分で産んで自分で壊そうとするの？わかんない、わかんない。ママが憎いよ。ママが憎い。悔しい、悔しい、悲しい、悲しい。作太郎がそうされたようにママをねじり上げてやりたい。爪を立てて引き裂いて布地と綿にしてやりたい。悔しいよ、悔しいよ、ベアトリーチェ。作太郎。
From the darkness behind Maria's back, two massive jet black arms crept out. What? Coiling around Maria as she sobbed in anger. The massive fingernails stuck into Maria's chest and stomach. Huh? Maria could not see them, but Beato could. Anger and sadness without any place to go will tear you apart. Beato knew that. She could see that. Yes, in the end, those massive arms were Maria's own. Those fingernails slowly started to dig into her chest and stomach. With their immense size and strength, those arms would probably tear Maria into bits easily. But Maria herself couldn't notice. Drowning in a sea of her own tears, she couldn't notice that her own arms were trying to tear apart her own chest.
悔しい、悔しい。作太郎がどうしても生き返らせられないなら、マリアは復讐したい。ママを同じ目に合わせてやりたい。作太郎と同じ目に合わせてやりたいの。ベアトリーチェ、 そのための魔法を教えて。ママをやっつける魔法を教えて。
It's honestly so sad that it has come to the point where Maria, as young as she is wishing for revenge in such a cruel way. And I think it's really because she sees Rosa doing all of those things.
その言葉は本心。
ママを殺してやる。あれはママじゃないよ。ママに取り付いた悪い魔女だ。ママの魔女を殺してやる。
よかろう。その力をそなたに与えよう。心美しきそなたが自らに引き裂かれるくらいなら、そなたにその苦しみを与えた心なき母こそよほど引き裂かれるに値する。教えようぞ、魔女の世界に光さすことなき深淵の奥底。
サクタロ、みんな嫌い、大嫌い。ママも嫌い、エンジェも嫌い。みんな大嫌い。
Huh? Oh god. Multiple glass breaking sounds. 12 years later, 1998. Ooh, this seems like a very interesting place to start off next time. So I'm gonna end here for today. This episode, we covered 2 parts, mainly Enji's side of the story and Maria's side. And I'm guessing we will flip through Maria and Enji's memories quite a lot. But in the first half, we had Enji and the 7 sisters, and I think notably, even though all 7 sisters showed up, I think we can definitely see that there is a closer or more special relationship between Enji and Memon. And honestly, in both the first part and the second part, I feel really heartbroken at all the things that we have seen, because Enji is relentlessly bullied by her classmates, and Maria is neglected. Honestly, I don't really know what to call it. The thing with Maria and Rosa. Because in some cultures, that kind of reaction could still be considered discipline in a way. I'm just gonna state what I think. I just think that it's not right. I really hate how Rosa treats Maria. But I also acknowledge that there are some cultures, including my own, that doesn't see anything wrong with it, and that how Rosa treats Maria, not just verbally insulting her, but also hitting her, all of it is just a part of disciplining a kid and making them as a stronger person. Honestly, I don't agree with that. But for Maria's part, I will say though that I think with each episode it gets kind of clearer that what's happening is really, a lot of it is based on, I think, imagination to a certain extent. Just like how Maria and Takutaro's relationship or friendship is, in a way, it stems from Maria's imagination, but at the same time, it's definitely a very real, very true friendship, and is very precious. There's no doubt that Maria truly sees Takutaro as her best friend, and I would never want to take that away from Maria. But in society's eyes, that kind of relationship is weird and bad. So I also understand why Rosa is so angered by it. Not to mention Rosa already has what I would consider some sort of inferiority complex, as well as just she just hates being looked down upon. Especially considering that she is a single mother in such a conservative society, and that she may or may not have caused or watched someone die as a kid. So there's a lot of things that would make Rosa kind of, the person that she is today. But it doesn't really excuse her actions. That's what I want to say. Because sometimes Rosa seems like she's really apologetic for what she does, but the other half of the time, she's just lost in her rage and her anger. Which I think definitely mirrors what some people do in the real world too, right? So anyway, I think that's why I hate that aspect of their relationship so much, because it's just too real, too painful. Anyway, that's kind of it for me today. It's been a very painful episode, but thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Oh, apparently I've been missing some updates to the character menu. I try to keep updated to them, but I guess I must have missed the sound drop effect. Or sometimes it just doesn't trigger. But this is for NG, who is the endless witch who will live for the next 1,000 years, or the witch hunter to slay all witches. Without understanding witches, one will never slay a witch. After understanding witches, still never will one slay a witch. She understands witches and denies them. This contradictory power alone gives her the blade to slay witches. That alone is contradictory, right? Since you understand witches, but you will never slay a witch. But she still has the power to slay witches? I'm a bit confused. Unless it's a play on a wording or something. Lady Maria's pure white heart torn asunder. His broken vessel can only be regenerated by Rosa, the Meister who made him. However, Rosa disposed of all the vessel scraps and even lost the sewing pattern. On top of this, because his existence was denied by the Meister herself, resurrecting him is impossible. With the Meister's death in 1986, his resurrection was lost forever. Resurrecting him is impossible, even for the endless witch Beatrice. Actually, this is something that I forgot to mention, but now it makes sense why Rosa was accompanied by Sakutaro back in episode 1, 2, 3, since at that point, Sakutaro was already dead, but we never had any clues about Sakutaro, or any mentions about Sakutaro's existence. So I don't know if his existence have been teased before and I just didn't get it. But this is interesting, definitely food for thought. I wonder if any of the cryptic messages can be linked back to Sakutaro. But if I were to think of it, then maybe Rosa's crime is killing Sakutaro. Maybe Rosa has a sin to pay. I don't know. Just some interesting things to think about. Have I read Maria's one? Oh, I don't think so. Maria, the Witch of Origins who will live for the next 1,000 years, possesses the motherly magical power to give birth to one from the Sea of Zero. At a glance, her magical power is weak. However, Zero will never become anything but Zero, no matter how it is multiplied. But the one she gave birth to will eventually surpass the heavens. Protected heavily by Beatrice, who understands her true value. She is in an alliance with Beatrice.